Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of David Charles Grusch? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing by this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the extraordinary claims, then offer my analysis. David Charles Grusch was born in 1987. He served in the U.S. Air Force before working in positions involving unidentified aerial phenomena, otherwise known as UAP. This is essentially a new name for unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. From 2016 to 2021, David was a senior intelligence officer at the National Reconnaissance Office. He was the representative to the UAP Task Force. From late 2021 until July 2022, he was the co-lead for the UAP analysis at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Now moving to the timeline of the extraordinary claims. During his time as an intelligence officer, David claimed that he stumbled upon a massive government conspiracy regarding UAPs. Before releasing any information to the media, David supplied the Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review the information he intended to release. They cleared his statements for open publication. David left his job at the government on April 7, 2023, in order to advance government accountability through public awareness. On June 5, 2023, an article about David's claims was published on a website called The Debrief. This virtually unknown website claims to be self-funded and explores frontier science and innovative technology. Here is a summary of the article. Much of this is paraphrased. David claimed that for decades, the United States has been running a deeply covert operation to retrieve UAPs. The government has possession of intact and partially intact spacecraft of non-human origin. In addition to the U.S. government, allies and defense contractors have also recovered vehicles. The people running this secret program have analyzed the vehicles and concluded that they possess unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures. They must be of exotic origin. David claimed that the secret program did not share information about their activity to Congress in violation of the law. David supplied information about this secret operation to Congress and to the Department of Defense Inspector General. As a result, David was targeted and harassed by members of the secret recovery operation. He filed a complaint saying that he was the victim of illegal retaliation because he made confidential disclosures. The article also contained information that appeared to boost David's credibility. For example, a retired Army colonel said that David was beyond reproach. A performance report in 2021 indicated that David was an adept staff officer and strategist, and a 2022 performance evaluation claimed that David was an officer with the strongest possible moral compass. David participated in a follow-up interview with News Nation. He implied that the military had discovered dead alien pilots in the spacecraft. He said, quote, "Believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true," unquote. The U.S. House of Representatives plans to investigate David's allegations, but the Department of Defense didn't seem as enthusiastic. A spokesperson for the Department of Defense released a statement regarding David's complaints and the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, otherwise known as the AARO. It read, quote, "To date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of any extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads," unquote. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Recently, there has been an increased level of interest in topics related to UAPs or UFOs. Military pilots have talked about seeing objects that cannot be explained. There is considerable enthusiasm among those who tend to get excited about aliens. Some even want there to be a massive alien invasion, like they are taking a pro-immigration stance a little too far. When somebody like David Grusch comes along, claiming to have discovered a government conspiracy about UFOs, it only adds more fuel to the fire. He seems highly credible, like a high-level government official who has inside knowledge. The timing of David's allegations is a bit suspicious. The topic of UFOs is more popular than ever, and here he is making these bombshell allegations. It makes me wonder if David is trying to ride the wave of public interest. Item number 2. Most people who come forward with dramatic alien stories, including whistleblowers, claim to have first-hand knowledge about extraterrestrial visitors. David is an atypical whistleblower in this regard. He never claimed to have seen any spacecraft or dead alien pilots. He hasn't even seen photographs of UFOs or aliens. David has no first-hand information about anything. All his statements were based on second-hand information allegedly relayed to him from other people. David explained his sources of information during his interview when he said, quote, "People started to confide in me, approach me. I have plenty of senior former intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me that they were part of a program," unquote. I find it curious that David said many of which instead of many of whom, and that confided in me instead of who confided in me. I presume that these intelligence officers were human beings. David claims that he has seen documents detailing retrieval efforts, but he doesn't appear to have these documents in his possession or has not shared them. One of the journalists who wrote the story for The Debrief was not concerned about the lack of photographs or documents because the information was supposed to be classified. That explains why it was unavailable. This is a convenient, albeit illogical way to conceptualize how David has absolutely no proof of his claims, but people should believe him anyway, for whatever reason. Item number 3. Essentially, David is making an argument that people should believe him based on his credibility and the sheer number of people who purportedly told him about a galactic spacecraft salvage initiative. Under his way of thinking, a whistleblower can simply boost their credibility by increasing the number of people in their story. Like a skeptic might approach a whistleblower and say, "I simply don't believe your story about alien visitors." The whistleblower replies, "What if I told you that people told me they saw aliens?" The skeptic is like, "I don't know. Those people could be lying. I'm still not convinced." The whistleblower then says, "What if I told you a lot of people informed me they saw aliens, and those people are really trustworthy?" The skeptic is stunned and rethinks their position. Well, that changes everything. Aliens must be here. Item number 4. One thing that David really didn't talk too much about is how he evaluated this information that he supposedly received from senior intelligence officials. David suggested that when he first found out about it, he thought he was being deceived, like it was a ruse, but he came to believe the story. He never really explained why he believed the story. What thought process did he implement to reach that conclusion? David has never seen an alien spacecraft or alien pilots, not even photographs, yet he is 100% convinced that there is a massive government conspiracy. A reporter asked David how many spacecraft of non-human origin the secret government program had. David responded, "Quite a number." Why should people believe David when he doesn't appear to possess critical thinking skills? Item number 5. People who are overinvested in the idea of alien visitors often claim that a conspiracy is what prevents proof from reaching the public. David claimed that there was a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace. He also said, quote, "Individuals on these UAP programs approached me in my official capacity and disclosed their concerns regarding a multitude of wrongdoings, such as illegal contracting against the federal acquisition regulations and other criminality and the suppression of information across a qualified industrial base and academia," unquote. One could argue that some degree of paranoia may be at work with at least some of these whistleblowers. People who believe in alien visitors often invest in multiple conspiracy theories, not just those directly related to space creatures. Item number 6. One of the many things that David supposedly heard from friends is how the government had recovered dead alien pilots. I find this curious. So these aliens are sophisticated enough to build spacecraft, but they have not mastered landing? Why do these aliens keep crashing? I imagine that these alien expeditions would be part of some type of military force from a distant civilization, like their equivalent of the Air Force or the Navy. Why would military pilots keep signing up for the Mission to Earth assignment after learning that their colleagues crashed and died? How about the family members of the pilots who have died? Don't they want the bodies to be recovered? Maybe to aliens, the Earth is like Mount Everest is to humans. When beings die there, no meaningful recovery effort is attempted because the environment is too hostile. Now moving to my last item, number 7. What do I think happened in this situation? Do I think that David Grusch is telling the truth? This is just a theory, my opinion. David's story is not supported by any evidence and doesn't make any sense. I think it's highly likely that he is mistaken. It's possible that all these people really did tell David that the government was running an alien spacecraft junkyard, and David believed their statements. David might not be lying, or he might not think of himself as lying. Some people simply need to believe and find any reason to do so. A number of factors can explain how someone could reach this point. A few examples: elevated levels of distrust and even paranoia, confirmation bias, discomfort with ambiguity, a deficit in critical thinking skills, high levels of gullibility, extremely high openness to experience, like living in a fantasy world, and a need to find purpose in life which has not been satisfied through more conventional thought or other non-alien experiences. Now moving to my final thoughts. Over the years, there have been many songs that have been written or repurposed related to convincing people aliens have visited Earth. If David was going to pick a song based on his Hearsay model, it would probably be REO Speedwagon's 1981 classic Take It on the Run, except with a small lyric modification. It could go something like, heard it from a friend who, heard it from a friend who, heard it from another you've been selling used alien spaceship parts. Those are my thoughts in the case of David Charles Grusch. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.